Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while. It is a pop-up socket or a tower socket, depending on what you might call it. It has 3 UK sockets and 2 USB sockets, and these are made to be fitted into a worktop or desk, whatever you want to put it in, and it sits flush with the worktop until you need it. You'll press the button and then pull it up to use it. Now the plan was, before, as you can see, there are no sockets on that wall, and we have a food mixer that would usually be here, and every time we want to use it we have to move it over the other side of the kitchen to use it, and we prefer to use it here on this workspace. So that's the plan. Now we was going to put it towards the back there, the back of this washer, because there's a socket down the back of there that we could have plugged this into using the plug. But because the washer needs to be pushed back so far, it'll come into contact with the sockets, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to come on this side. We're going to come on this side of this panel, and we're going to put it in the corner over there, and then I'm going to run the wire through the back end of this wooden panel. Now to do that, I'll have to put a new plug on it, because I'll have to cut this one off. I'll possibly use this one actually. I don't know if I can or not. We'll see. But I'll have to cut the plug off to feed the wire through an hole at the back there. Now, obviously, a decent sized hole is going to be needed in our worktop, and to do that we will need an 80mm hole saw. Making sure that you have an arbor. You'll need an arbor as well as this to make it work. Sometimes they're sold separately, you see. So just make sure you have, well, you'll have to have both of them for it to work. And a drill that's capable of pushing this through that worktop. The only other thing you'll need is some masking tape. Now, usually what would happen is, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. Usually what would happen is you would tape up the area in which you were drilling down through, just to help prevent, any cracks or anything. But I'm opting to start from underneath, and I'm going to come up from underneath until the drill bit, let me just show you, until that drill bit pops through on the top. Then once that pops through, I'm going to drill down, back down, and hopefully have a nice clean cut. That's the theory anyway, so yeah, we're gonna crack on with that. We're going to find our spot. Excuse me. I'm going to pick our spot, and making sure, I mean it'll be different for you, but just make sure that you're avoiding things like this from underneath. It's a relatively simple task. I can do it by eye. I can guess roughly where I want it, and it is going to be the, it's going to be a bit loud, this. Now when you're doing this, just make sure you take your time. There's no need to rush it. Put your drill on the highest setting, but don't force it in there. Just, gently push. Just allow the teeth of the saw to do all the work. Just making sure to check on top. So keep our eye out for the drill bit coming through. Okay, so we've come through with the drill bit, and now we're going to go from the top downwards, and hopefully we'll get ourselves a clean hole. Now I'm going to admit to you that that's the second attempt. The first attempt, they all landed around here and it was perfect. It was that they all would have been perfectly placed, except I didn't take into account this lip on here that would be sat here, so it wouldn't have sat flush with the worktop. So that was a mistake, but it was fine because I could just move over here knowing that I would take out that overall anyway. So now we're going from top down, and hopefully the end result will be okay. I'll just position that there. Okay, so obviously the tape didn't do anything. Didn't really help us out. And there we have it, our hole. Oh, as you can see, because we started from the bottom and then came back through from the top, a slight deviation, but it's a clean hole. That's what we want. As you can see, barely any chipping, which is a massive bonus, because we definitely don't want that. A little bit of chipping will be fine. I won't worry about it too much because the lip on this will cover it, so I won't worry too much about any little chips. Put the wire through, and this should, albeit snugly, there you go, that's a very nice snug fit. Just move this back, lift it up so you can see. There we go. Now we'll get our ring, so we'll put that back over the wire, that way it would be. Remove all the dust. I'm just going to fix that, or fasten that when it goes on properly. There we go. Fasten that nice and tight. Now I'm going to have to drill a hole through the back of here, so we can feed our wire through into the socket behind this panel. So as you can see, excuse me, as you can see, we have drilled our hole for the wire to go through. Now something we have to think about is that this, moving up and down, means we'll need some of this wire to remain outside of this panel, so that, for obvious reasons, you know, so it can drop down and come back up. So that's something we have to think about. Just feed the wire through. So as you can see, say that will work. Yeah. Now I just need to put a plug on the other side and plug it in. So that's it, that's fully installed. Put a plug on, plugged it in behind the washer, left enough slack for it to move up and down. I have plugged it in, as I said, and as you can see, the power light is on, which is obviously indicating that there's power going to it. But we'll plug something in anyway. And double check that it is working. As you can see, or not, it clearly is working. Now we can plug that into there and use it. So yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, there are definitely better ones than this out there, but this was only around, I think it was $20 or something, which is like, excuse me, which is like, I don't know, 15 quid in the UK. Yeah, it's well worth it, well worth it. Quick job, nice and cheap, and it pushes away just like that. And as I said, you have to remember, you know, you probably won't have this problem anyway, but if you did, just make sure you leave enough slack for it to move up and down. And you'd probably have this wire plugged into a socket directly underneath the worktop, or you know, whatever. So yeah, don't think there's a lot else to cover now. There'll be links in the description and a bunch of information. Now you can buy these for the US and, you know, Europe. You can get the plugs that you need on them, obviously. So other than that, I don't think there's a lot more to it. I think that's it. For this particular pop-up socket, we needed an 80mm hole saw. And some tape, but as you saw, that wasn't really effective at all. But it turned out fine in the end. There was no chips, certainly no major chips. So yeah, I hope that video was helpful to you. There's links in the description, information in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.